This is why Jay Leno was the #1 show in late night for the better part of 3 decades. If you're an aspiring comedian, if you're an aspiring late night host, don't listen to the overly emotional Jim Kimmel. Don't listen to Stephen Colbert. Hell, he no longer has a job. Listen to the king. Listen to the dude with longevity. Listen to your elders. Listening to your elders is good advice for life in general. And it's something that most men struggle with, especially when we are younger. When I was growing up, I used to think my dad was out of his mind. Not only did he work a regular job, he also owned and operated his own business. He worked for the government, and for his own business, he repaired and installed irrigation systems. My prepubescent mind, which was not inspired by the inspiration of modern prepubescent boys Meg Rapinoe, my prepubescent mind could not understand it. Why would you want to work 2 jobs? And why would you start a business that requires you to work in the heat? Not only that, you got to use a shovel. My dad loves a shovel. Several years ago, I bought him a shovel for Father's Day as kind of a gag gift. You would have thought that damn shovel was made of gold. He loved it. If someone bought me a shovel, I would have to hire someone to use it. My dad loved that damn shovel. He still uses it to this day. But when I was around 13, maybe 14 years old, I asked my dad why he busted his ass working his side business when he already had a full-time job. Looking back at it now at 40, I know why he did it. Me and my sister were expensive. Mom never wanted us to go without. And he was responsible for funding our lifestyle. My dad grew up very poor, so he never wanted to have to worry about money. Working 80, 90 hours a week, he didn't care. He could sleep at night knowing money was not going to be a problem. But that was not the explanation that he gave me that day. Instead of providing an explanation that would potentially make me feel guilty, he provided an explanation that I never forgot. He said, never put yourself in a position where you're 100% reliant on a company for your income. You could piss off your boss, get fired. You could show up to work one day and there's locks on the doors. You want to be as self-reliant as possible. 20 years later, I finally took his advice. He probably doesn't even remember the conversation, but I did. Over 4 years ago, I quit my job to pursue YouTube full time. I no longer have to rely on a company. I no longer have to worry about my income being tied to the whims of a boss. But KC, you're relying on an algorithm. Yeah, that's definitely true. It's damn near impossible to be 100% self-reliant, but when the algorithm is shaky, I've got sponsors, I have secondary income. More importantly, I have you. I have a baseline of daily viewers that I've built over the years that gives me a minimum of 1 million views every month. So even when the algorithm is shaky, I'm okay. It might have taken 20 years, but I'm glad I finally listened to my dad's advice. And I'm lucky to have a father that was around to give me that advice. Earlier this morning, an interview was released of Jay Leno speaking with the CEO of the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation. During the interview, the elder statesman of late night provided some valuable wisdom to those who are trying to revive an industry that's on life support. If they're smart, they'll listen. But unfortunately for Stephen Colbert, it's too late. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Later today on the second channel, gonna be talking about the L. Duncan problem at ESPN. According to the policies at the worldwide leader in woke, Elle Duncan should be fired. Hell, according to their own policies, Elle Duncan should have been fired years ago. I'll explain why, so click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. Headline at the New York Post. Jay Leno criticizes modern late-night comedy for alienating half the audience. Credit to Jay Leno for even having the courage to point this out. Since CBS announced that they were firing Captain Doofus, damn near every failure in late night has made excuses for him. In their defense of Stephen Colbert, they've perfectly illustrated one of the main problems in late night television. Every host is the same. Throughout the week this week, it has been hand-holding and masculine ass-grabbing. Jim Kimmel is blaming the Trumper. Jon Stewart is floating ridiculous conspiracy theories. John Oliver, Jim Fallon, Sean Squires, they were in the studio audience to support Stevie Colbert. My inside sources, they're telling me that 10 minutes into his opening monologue, all three were passed out. Sean Squires was resting his head on the shoulders of John Oliver, while Jim Fallon, he was stroking his hair. Outside of Greg Gutfeld, the only late-night host that's been missing from this celebration of Wiener, Bill Maher. I wonder why. And now we've got Jay Leno. Earlier this morning, an interview was released with Jay Leno speaking with the CEO of the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation. I couldn't find audio of the interview. I guess it's only available in print. But Jay Leno, he made the same point that we have been making on the channel for years now. Partisan politics, their dedication to the woke commandments, their stage 4 symptoms of OMB, or bad. It has destroyed the once profitable industry of late night television. Jay Leno was presented with 22 years of analysis of his run hosting The Tonight Show. The study found that Jay Leno was equally balanced. He made jokes about Republicans, made jokes about Democrats, jokes about men, jokes about women. Basically, Jay Leno made jokes about everyone. In response, Jay Leno said, "That's how you draw an audience. Today, you have to be content with half an audience because you're giving your opinion." Yeah, no shit. Actually, you have to be content with significantly less than half the audience because you're splitting that half, which is rapidly dwindling. You're splitting that half with the other huge embarrassing failures hosting these polished turds. Next, Jay Leno was asked if he had any advice for late-night comedians. He mentioned his relationship with Rodney Dangerfield. Now, I'm sure anyone under the age of 30 is asking, who in the hell's Rod Dangerfield? He would be eye-opening to Gen Z LGBT because Rodney Dangerfield was a real comedian. He made jokes that people actually laughed at. Jay Leno knew Rodney Dangerfield for 40 years. In 40 years, he never knew if Rodney Dangerfield was a Republican or a Democrat. They never discussed politics. They discussed comedy. Believe it or not, that's the way it used to be. It used to be considered inappropriate to ask someone who they voted for. People didn't openly talk about politics. They didn't get offended when someone made a joke about Cam Harris. Even in the early days of social media, people weren't obsessed with politics. They were watching videos of Garfield chasing his tail. They were posting pictures of parties. They were rating people on Hot or Not. Today, it seems like there's this obsession with political and social issues on social media. Keyword, seems. Me personally, I don't think that's the case. I think most normal people live their day-to-day lives not thinking about some useless politician. I don't know about you guys, but I have never met a politician that's done a damn thing for me. So why would I waste my time in my personal life obsessing over them? But if you base your programming on social media, you would be led to believe that people are embracing the woke wiener. And I think that's the mistake late night comedians have made. ESPN made this same mistake years ago, but they seem to be distancing themselves from it. But these assholes in late night, they continue to embrace it. They continue to think social media is real when the reality is, there is nothing real about social media. For his final piece of advice, Jay Leno explained why late night comedy should be an escape. You can make political jokes, you can embrace political humor, but it's got to be balanced. He explained how late night shows used to bring people together. Today, they're a source of division. Jay Leno said, people don't want to be lectured. When I was with Rodney, it was always an economy of words. Get the joke out as quickly as possible. Translation: when people are tuning into late night shows, they don't care about your political bias. They don't give a shit about who you voted for. They're watching to be entertained, not to be indoctrinated. Let me ask you something. When Jay Leno was hosting The Tonight Show, did you know if he was a Republican or a Democrat? I never did. In the 90s and 2000s, I always liked Conan O'Brien. I had no idea how he voted. That's the way it's supposed to be. And if these other huge embarrassing failures in late night want to keep their jobs, that's the way it will be. But give me your thoughts on this. Jay Leno dismantles late night while providing free advice to the remaining host. Will they listen? I doubt it, but you tell me. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.